Hi, everybody. This is a continuation of the tubular herringbone stitch. Now, I know there are a lot of tubular herringbone stitch tutorials on YouTube and wherever else, big bead stores, websites, and so on, but I couldn't find any that had the alternate beginning. The dilemma with these is that if you're really super picky, you can kind of tell that this does not match this. This is a ladder stitch. This is herringbone stitch. This is not herringbone stitch. This is ladder stitch. When you join it up at the end, you can join it up at the end. You're just going to have that little spot there that is not herringbone stitch. So soon I will show you with bigger beads how to do this alternate start so that you're not using ladder stitch, you're actually starting with herringbone stitch. It's a little more bit of a hassle, so I will show you a second alternative as well. The second alternative I'll tell you right now is to just clip off, take scissors and clip off the ladder stitch and take the ladder stitch part off, back it up to a length so that back it up, take off enough beads so that you have enough thread to thread a needle on and finish the thread with the needle on it, then join it up. But if you want to start not with ladder stitch, but with actual herringbone stitch, I will show you that in a moment. The other thing I will show you in a moment as well, in a the same video or a separate video, whichever, or obviously a continuation of the same video, is one of these is the step-up method that I showed you earlier, and the other is the uh, no step-up method that twists. It's a little hard to tell which is which on these because this uses two slightly different sizes of beads. These are supposedly both Japanese size 8 hexagons, but the one is made by one company and the other another company, so they're, one's bigger, one's smaller. So they kind of, this is actually the straight one, so to speak, the step up one that doesn't twist, but there's some undulation in it just because of the difference in size. So just to show you, you can get texture and movement using slightly different sizes of beads in the same thing. You can also, if you no, this is the no step up one that twists naturally. It's kind of a hassle to, even if I was to take the ladder stitch part off, to match up, to join up the ends on the twisty one. So what you can do instead is do the step up version. And then what do you do when you get to the end? You go like this. You twist it manually, then you join it up. So I will cover all that stuff in a moment. I'm going to take a pause here and set up my little bead station with, oh, come on, baby, here we go. With I had to position my cursor so I could hit the pause button, but I'm going to set up my big pony beads so I can show you the alternate start so that you don't have to use the ladder stitch start. Even though it's ostensibly easier, it's good to have techniques at your disposal that you can choose to use instead of being compelled to use certain things due to lack of knowledge. So here we go. I will pause this video and join you back in a minute when I have my pony beads on here. So I'll see you in the next one. I will pause and thanks for joining me. I'm back and I've got the pony beads. Big giant Herkin plastic pony beads that are just as fun to work with as the little ones. This is one I did yesterday evening just to make sure I remembered how to do it, and we'll set that aside for now. What I'll show you is that you're going to start it completely differently, and you have to do some funky maneuvering just to get it to start with herringbone, but you might think it's worth it, so I want to share this with you. First of all, now this is for a 4 stitch per row herringbone tube. The other tubes with the smaller beads, the size 8 hexagon beads, those are 3 stitches per row. But I thought the bigger the better. Why don't I do 4 stitches? So I've got 2 colors just so it's easier for you to kind of tell what we're doing and what stitch, what bead we should go into for the next stitch. But I've got 2 of each color back and forth so that I have a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 beads. So the number of stitches you want your tube to be, multiply that by 4. You'll see the reason for that in a minute, even though it's pretty excessive for only 4 stitches per row. Well, each stitch has in each row has 2 beads in it, so that makes 8. And we're going to actually have up and down beads, I'll say. So what I'll do is, in other words, these 2 beads are going to go underneath and form part of the column or the tube. So what you do is you tie an overhand knot, tie it in a circle, go past the needle through the first bead. And the first thing you do is you act like you're doing regular herringbone stitch. And you put 2 beads on, you go down through the next bead. The part that's different comes right up, which is that you're skipping these beads. This is why I colored them differently. I used a different color. You're actually skipping 2 beads and passing the needle through the next single bead. And now that I'm making this video, I'll probably find a wonderful video for this start on it, but that's all right. The more the merrier. The alternate starts. So see how there's this big giant thread gap there? You gotta pull it herkin tight. You gotta reef on it. You gotta just pull that thing as tight as you possibly can. And the way I keep it pulled tight, and I've said this in many videos, I've been doing this for 30 plus years, you guys, so trust me, it's a skill worth learning. Hold it like this, thumb and forefinger, tuck that thread between the forefinger and the middle finger. See, you'll just learn something else that you can do with your middle finger. Yay! So, thumb and forefinger, first and middle finger, and see how those little beads are tucking under? They went bye-bye. So, these beads, again, I kind of have to push them into shape, and don't disparage yourself if you find that thread gap to be bigger than this. It's kind of a hazard of the job. It's a little hard to avoid, but just do the best you can. That's what having fun with beads is all about, doing the best you can and celebrating everything you do. So again, I just skipped over entirely. I did not pass the needle this time through either of those beads. So I scrunch it up as much as I possibly can. I restore that thread catch there, the holding my thread down, and I'm done with that little skipper stitch. Now, again, now see, I'm kind of either doing completely skipping or going in between. I'm not skipping over this one. I'm inserting these 2 beads between it. It is not much at all like peyote stitch. Although I will show you later, it's actually very fun and easy to combine these 2 stitches, peyote stitch and endobelly, or also known as herringbone. So yeah, I'm reefing on this. I'm like kind of trying to wrestle it into shape here. And so far, so I've got 3 stitches, and even though I've got 6 stitches left, I only have 1 stitch left to do. the reason why is these green beads I'm passing over, skipping over them, going through just one of these beads, and see that thread gap? I'm going to close the gap. That's my tail of my thread. I'm going to pinch that as far closed as I can. And that means wrestling the beads into shape, pinching and pulling. I pinch here, I pull here, I pinch here, I pull here. What the hey, they behave eventually. And see how I'm coming out between those two purple beads? They look blue on the monitor. They look purple to me in real life. I hope that's coherent. I hope you know which one I'm talking about. I purposely chose very different colors so you could see the difference. See what the ones I'm skipping are the green, the ones I'm going through are the blue or the purple, depending on your monitor color. And again, I'm inserting beads in between these two. I'm not skipping any of the purple beads. I'm only skipping the green beads. And again, there's that big old gap. Watch me make that gap disappear or minimize. Boink, boink, and oh, come on, baby. There we go. Don't be afraid to just reef on your beads if you have to. That's another reason why I use doubled thread, because it's a stronger connection. And check this out. I'm almost done. I have one thing left to do, which is to skip those last two beads, and then I pass the needle through, up through this one and up through this one, and I've got my tube. So check this out. I will, again, I'm skipping, but I have to go through this one. If I wanted to do the twisty one, I would go up here, not down here. I will start without the twist in this case. But just so you know, if you don't want to do the step up, you don't have to, even from the very beginning. Just make sure that little thread gap, if you can, to the extent that you can, is addressed and minimized. Oh, oh, my knot is inside here. So I think I will switch needles, and that ought to work for passing my thread through that last bead. That's a hazard of the job. Sometimes you have to go through a bead that has a knot and that tucked inside it. That happens when you make those little circles and tie them in a knot. That knot gets tucked away. Kind of a version of nature abhors a vacuum. Now make sure, see how these want to, I'm glad this happened because it could happen to you. These want to poke upward. I'm not going to let them. I'm going to make them poke downward. And I do that just by moving them. I simply move them and I pinch and pull. I make it tight. I make it so these, I kind of bunch them up or on top. And I will go through the second of those two beads for my step up. And yeah, my gaps are not razor sharp, correct, or as tight as they possibly could be. I think they're really in real life, they're frankly as probably as tight as they're going to get. I can always try to get them to stand together a little closer. But as I work this tube, it'll become more coherent. I will get more purple beads out here for me to work on for you. And let's see, again, let us make these as tight as we can. And when you're working with beads that are that much smaller, yeah, it is trickier. It can be more difficult. So that's why you probably don't find a whole lot of tutorials on how to start it this way. But again, there are advantages to it, and I don't want you to miss out on those advantages. That's why I'm showing this to you. So I will do one more row, and you'll see how forgiving it is. It seems like, oh, it's just such a big clustery mess here that who's going to want that? Lord don't love ugly, right? Well, it's going to get less and less ugly as you go up. And I'll finish the row and do the step up at the end of the row. And let's see here. I always pinch and pull, and my got just one stitch left. These beads want to get in the way, which is fun, but and again, this is the step up spot. I don't go through this one or this one, but I do go parallel from this one to this one. Again, if I wanted to, I'm going from here to here. If I wanted to make it twist, I wouldn't go through this one, I'd go only through that one at the end of the row. And then you would lose track of where the end of the row is. But I thought otherwise. I thought I would do the step up way. Now see the thread gap? Now see it disappear. Also, when you join the ends, let's say this is your new end, or the end that you just end of a long tube, and you have it you made it go in a, you put it in a circle and you want to join the ends together, then this you would join, and I'll show you with the hexagon beads. You would be going into this bead and then this bead, because these, see how these two beads are the unit, these are not. These actually flap out and come together this way. And so some of that thread gap will be contained when you join them at the end. I'll show you that with the size 8 hexagon beads, so it's a little more coherent. This was mainly just to show you how to do that wonky start. But again, the what you get in return for confronting this wonkiness is something that is actually herringbone all the way through, not a herringbone with a little ladder stitch start. So I hope you like that. Please hit the like button and the share it with your friends button, and comment if you have a comment. If you have any suggestions, or wait a minute, Teresa, this didn't work. What was I doing wrong, or what were you doing wrong, or whatever, feel free to comment. I like hearing from you. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye.